He had always believed that life followed a straight line. You dream, you plan, you work, and eventually the world rewards you for your effort. That's what people always said. What motivational posters, polished speeches, and every neatly edited success story kept repeating. But when his business collapsed, when the people who once shook his hand suddenly acted like they didn't know him, he realized something that stung deeper than the failure itself. Nobody talks honestly about what it feels like to fall apart. Nobody prepares you for the silence after the storm. The long stretch of days when you wake up unsure if you still matter, or if you ever truly did. For weeks he walked around with the weight of his mistakes sitting heavy on his chest. He replayed every decision he made, every risk he took, every sign he ignored. It wasn't just losing money. He had lost confidence, lost trust in his own instincts. Friends tried cheering him up, telling him failure was normal, that even famous founders had their share of losses. But those were just words, clean and tidy, spoken from people on the outside. The truth was messy. It was waking up at 3 a.m., thinking about all the things you should have done differently. It was being afraid to check your phone because you didn't want to see another unpaid bill or another message reminding you of something that used to be your responsibility. Still, somewhere in that darkness, something small refused to die. It wasn't hope, not yet. It was more like a stubborn heartbeat, the quiet kind that doesn't ask for attention but keeps going anyway. He started noticing it when he walked to the cafe near his apartment. He stopped buying coffee there months ago to save money, but sometimes he'd sit outside listening to strangers talk about their own problems. Some were dealing with breakups. Some were worried about losing their jobs. Some were chasing opportunities that didn't seem to want them back. He realized everyone was carrying something heavy. He wasn't the only one whose life felt out of control. That thought didn't solve anything, but it made the world feel less hostile, a little more human. So he began writing. Not for an audience, not for advice, not to impress anyone, but to untangle the knots in his mind. At first it was messy and emotional. Short lines, long lines, whole pages that said nothing and everything at the same time. But the more he wrote, the more he realized he wasn't just venting. He was understanding himself, why he made the choices he made, why he ignored his limits, why he kept pretending he was fine when he wasn't. The process didn't heal him completely, but it cracked open a window, letting in just enough air to breathe again. One night, while staring at the ceiling in that tiny apartment he'd rented after selling his old place, he admitted something he never said out loud. The failure didn't destroy him. It revealed him. It showed the parts of himself he had been hiding behind confidence and ambition. It forced him to see that he had tied his entire worth to winning, to staying ahead, to never showing weakness. The collapse of everything he built didn't just take away his success. It peeled back the layers he used to shield his insecurities. And strangely, that honesty felt like the beginning of something new, something raw but real. He realized he had spent years trying to be someone worth admiring, instead of someone worth being. And maybe that was why the fall hurt so much. Because the version of himself he lost wasn't even the version he truly wanted to be. Failure didn't push him backward, it pushed him inward. It forced him to face questions he avoided for years. Questions about purpose, about identity, about what truly matters when nothing is guaranteed. Slowly, he started building a new routine. He took long walks every morning, not to clear his head, but to fill it with thoughts that didn't revolve around regret. He cooked simple meals, he called his family more. He stopped pretending he was okay and started allowing himself to simply be human, flawed, uncertain, but still moving. And in a world that glorifies non-stop achievement, that simple act of moving forward, even quietly, felt like rebellion. He didn't know what his next chapter would look like, and for the first time, he didn't force himself to have an answer. Maybe that was the first real sign of strength, the ability to exist in uncertainty without letting it define him. The world didn't need him to be perfect, it never did. What it needed was someone willing to rise again, even when no one was watching. And so, one ordinary Tuesday morning, as sunlight came through the blinds and painted soft lines across the floor, he made a small but important decision. He wasn't going to rebuild his old life. He was going to build a new one. Not because he had fully healed, but because he finally understood that healing wasn't a finish line. It was a direction, a commitment, a choice he had to make every day, even on the days when he didn't feel brave. He didn't expect progress to come quietly. He always imagined comebacks as dramatic moments, the kind you'd see in movies. A sudden breakthrough, a lucky opportunity, someone recognizing your talent and giving you the chance you'd been waiting for. But the truth was far less glamorous. Progress came disguised as small habits, tiny victories too unremarkable for anyone else to notice but powerful enough to shift something inside him. He started freelancing, little jobs at first, nothing close to what he used to manage, designing a logo for a local shop, writing copy for a small website, helping a friend's cousin brainstorm a business idea. The money wasn't great, but it wasn't about that. Each project reminded him that he still had skills, still had something to offer. Failure hadn't erased his talent. It had only shaken his confidence. And confidence, he learned, wasn't something you waited to return. It was something you rebuilt by doing the work anyway. Still, some days were heavy. Some days he woke up feeling like he was climbing a mountain with no peak. On those mornings, he had to force himself out of bed, force himself to sit at his desk, force himself to begin. He learned that willpower wasn't loud or heroic. It was quiet, stubborn, and sometimes exhausted. But every time he pushed through, even just a little, the mountain shrank by an inch. As weeks turned into months, his world began to open up again. People he had once worked with started reaching out, not with pity but with genuine respect. They had seen his fall, but they also saw his resilience, and in a way that made him more real to them. He wasn't the untouchable guy who always won. He was someone who had been through the fire and didn't lose himself in the smoke. That authenticity created connections he never had before. One evening, he sat in a dim bar with an old colleague who had followed his journey from a distance. Between sips of beer and long pauses, his friend finally said, "You know, I always thought you were confident because you had everything under control. But now I think your real strength showed up after you lost it all." It wasn't meant as a compliment, but it hit him like one. For the first time, he realized that failure wasn't a stain on his character. It was part of his truth, a truth that made him stronger, not weaker. He stopped chasing perfection. He stopped pretending he had it all figured out. And ironically, that made him more productive. When he took on new projects, he approached them with patience instead of pressure. When things didn't go smoothly, he didn't panic. He adapted, he adjusted, he learned. The fear that once controlled him started to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence that came from experience rather than ego. He also began noticing how his perspective had changed. Before, he measured success by the size of his achievements. Now he measured it by the size of his effort. A good day wasn't the day he earned the most. It was the day he stayed consistent, honest, and engaged. A good day was one where he didn't give in to the voice telling him he was still broken. He wasn't broken, he was rebuilding. When he looked back, he realized that the pressure he once lived under didn't come from the world. It came from himself. He used to believe he had to outrun his failures, hide them, bury them deep, so no one could ever point to them again. But now he saw that running wasn't strength. Strength was facing the ruins, understanding them, and then choosing to build from the ground up with a clearer mind and a steadier heart. One afternoon, while cleaning his apartment, he found the journal he started months earlier. The early pages were filled with fear and confusion, but as he flipped through, he noticed the tone shifting. The lines were steadier, the words were firmer. He could trace the moment he stopped drowning and began swimming. It wasn't dramatic, but it was real, and that reality mattered more than anything. That night, he wrote a new entry, not about pain or fear, but about gratitude. He was grateful not for the failure itself, but for what it taught him about himself. It had stripped away everything he hid behind, leaving only the parts of him that were solid enough to stand on. And that foundation, though smaller than the life he once had, was stronger than anything he'd built before. He closed the journal and sat quietly for a moment, feeling something he hadn't felt in a long time. Not excitement, not relief, but readiness. Readiness to step into whatever came next. Readiness to trust himself again. Readiness to try, knowing he could fail and still rise. He didn't mark the day everything finally shifted. There was no celebration, no dramatic turning point, no sudden wave of triumph. It happened quietly, the way most real changes do. One morning, he simply woke up and realized he wasn't afraid anymore. Not of failure, not of starting over, not of the judgment he once imagined people carried. The fear that used to sit in his chest like a stone had softened, dissolved, replaced by something calm and steady. Belief. Not blind optimism, not the empty confidence he once wore like a mask, but a belief rooted in everything he had survived. As he stood at the window watching the street fill with the usual morning noise, he felt a deep sense of ownership over his life. The struggles, the missteps, the losses, they weren't weights dragging him down anymore. They were threads woven into the person he had become. And for the first time, he understood that rising from failure didn't mean erasing it. It meant carrying it with you, letting it shape you into someone more resilient, more aware, more human. Opportunities began to arrive, not because luck suddenly returned, but because he approached the world differently. He no longer chased every chance out of desperation or fear of missing out. He chose intentionally, guided by values he had ignored when he was busy trying to impress others. When he accepted a new partnership, it wasn't because it promised quick success, but because it aligned with the person he was becoming. People sensed that in him. His voice was steadier, his decisions clearer, his boundaries stronger. One afternoon, he attended a networking event he would have avoided a year earlier. Back then, the idea of facing people who had watched him fall felt unbearable. But now he walked into the room with quiet confidence. Not arrogance, just a sense of place. A recognition that he belonged not because he had never failed, but because he had learned how to rise. Conversations flowed easily. People he barely knew came up to him and said they admired how he rebuilt his life. Some even said his journey gave them courage to face their own setbacks. He never expected that. He never imagined his lowest point could become a source of strength for someone else. Later that night after the event, he sat at his desk with the lamp casting a warm glow over his notebooks and old sketches. He opened his journal again, reread the pages that captured his darkest moments, and felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Not for the pain, but for the clarity it gave him. Failure had not been an ending. It had been a teacher, a brutally honest one, but a teacher nonetheless. It taught him humility, patience, vulnerability, and most importantly, the value of staying true to himself. He began working on a new project, something ambitious but rooted in purpose rather than ego. It wasn't just a business idea, it was a reflection of everything he had learned. He wanted to build something meaningful, something that wouldn't crumble under the weight of unrealistic expectations. He wasn't rushing, he wasn't chasing. He was creating, slowly, intentionally, with respect for the process. Every step felt earned, grounded, real. As the project grew, so did he. He realized that rising from failure wasn't about reclaiming his old life. It was about building a better one, a life he didn't have the wisdom or self-awareness to build before. He stopped comparing himself to others. He stopped trying to outrun time. He lived with more patience, more presence, more honesty. And with that shift came a sense of peace he had never experienced when he was constantly striving to stay ahead. One evening, a friend asked him if he ever wished he could erase what happened, go back to the moment before everything fell apart and choose differently. He thought about it. He could still remember the fear, the shame, the nights he stayed awake staring at the ceiling trying to understand where he went wrong. And yet, after a quiet pause, he shook his head. "No," he said softly. "If I erased the fall, I'd erase the rise too." It was the most honest thing he had ever said. He looked at his life, simple, imperfect, in progress, and felt something he had chased for years: contentment. Not the fleeting kind that comes from success or praise, but the lasting kind that grows when you know who you are and what you stand for. The version of himself who once feared judgment wouldn't recognize this person. And that was the point. Growth had changed him. Failure had shaped him. Rising had defined him. As he turned off the lights and prepared to sleep, he understood one final truth. Failure wasn't the opposite of success. It was part of it, a necessary part, a painful but transformative chapter that prepares you for everything that comes after. And as he lay down, breathing calmly, he felt a quiet certainty settle inside him. He had risen not because he was fearless, but because he faced the fear and walked anyway. And tomorrow he would rise again,